really big win for the Bills last night. Absolute destruction, let's be honest, of the New England Patriots, such that I think it's fair to say the divorce is over. And Tom Brady has won it by an order of magnitude. Now, it's kind of fun to sit around and think, what would the Patriots have looked like this year if they had Tom Brady instead of Cam Newton? I still don't think this Patriot offense has very many weapons, but I feel like Brady would have found a way to get the Patriots to a 10-win season. Could be wrong, but he found a way to do it pretty much every year, and I think it's likely that he would have done it again. Now he's going to get, it appears, the Bucs to an 11-win season, and so we started off this season saying one of the most intriguing storylines and plots to follow was who's going to win the divorce, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady. Now, Belichick's got a longer roadmap, a longer runway to be able to be the overall head coach in the NFL, right? So Brady, let's say, has 2 or 3 more years total at best probably to play at a high level. I do think it would be stunning if Brady walked away this year. He's played at a really high level. First year with the Bucs. I think even with the COVID issues, they've started to show some pretty good rhythm. Next year, he's going to be a lot better, I believe. So it would be stunning if Brady walked away. In fact, I would say Brady may try to play 2 more years from here. I don't think he's anywhere near done. In fact, I think he's going to win a playoff game against whoever wins the NFC East, and I think he'll be in the Final Four of the NFC in his first year. Maybe be able to even pull off an upset in that divisional round game, but that's into the future. Brady has won it this year. The big question the Patriots are going to have to answer is, what are they going to do at the quarterback position? Because I think Cam Newton has done as a starter. They brought him in as a 1-year guy. Jarrett Stidham, to me, does not look like a quarterback that is capable of being a high-level starter in the NFL, at least based on what we've seen so far. If both of those things are true, then you would expect that Belichick will be in the quarterback market either to trade for somebody or potentially to go in and get a first-round quarterback this year and find somebody that he falls in love with. Not sure who that quarterback would be, but I think that's what you have to be presuming is going to be the case with the Patriots. Big takeaway from the Patriots side. I also said this was going to be a massive storyline. What is going to happen with Cam Newton? I think based on what we've seen from Cam this season, his days of being a starting quarterback in the NFL are effectively over. Doesn't mean he might not start again. Doesn't mean that he might not have an opportunity as a backup. Doesn't mean that something might happen where they trade, a younger quarterback doesn't play well, and Cam Newton comes in relief. And I definitely don't think the Patriots have a lot of weapons. But Cam Newton went 5 for 10 for 34 yards in his performance last night against the Bills. And he wasn't even very good at running the football either. Had 1 spectacular play for a touchdown, 4 carries, 24 yards. But in general, there wasn't much going on with Cam Newton. And so I think if you break it down and start to dive into it and everything else, the scenario here doesn't make a lot of sense for the idea that Cam Newton is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL next year. So the Patriots fall to a 9-loss team. Who knows what's going to happen next week, whether they're really going to have very much of an interest against the Jets. I actually think the Jets may have a good chance to win that game because I think it matters a lot more to the Jets than it does to the Patriots. But the way Belichick was throwing the phone, his frustration, his disgust over where things were with his team, you could just see it emanating through. The Patriots had a lot of players opt out with COVID, 8, I believe, more so than anybody else. You can say that Belichick has done a good job winning, but he's not used. You can say he did a good job coaching to even win 6 games with this team, but certainly Belichick is not used to losing like this over the last 20 years. And the Cam Newton experiment, one of the big questions coming into the season was, does Cam have much left? Is he going to prove, is he going to be like Ryan Tannehill? Prove that he's a guy who left the team that didn't have any faith in him anymore, goes to a new situation, gets a $100 million contract, or is he going to be like a lot of quarterbacks in this scenario, and is he going to fade into sort of NFL starting quarterback oblivion? I think you're seeing what the answer is. I think Cam Newton is effectively done as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So to me, big storylines. Bills, legitimate contender for the AFC Super Bowl spot. I think they could win the AFC. I think they could beat the Chiefs. Chiefs fans out there are going to say, yeah, but we beat them earlier in the year. It was October. Josh Allen is playing at a lot higher level right now. That offense, his rhythm with Stephon Diggs, all of that is much better. Only game they've lost since that game is a Hail Mary in Arizona, a game that really they should have won. So I like where the Bills are. I think the Bills are the biggest challenger and the biggest contender to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC. So my top 5, as I gave them to you to start off the show, I've got the Chiefs as my 1 seed, the Packers as my 2, the Saints as my 3, the Bills as my 4, and the Seahawks as my 5. What about the bottom 5, the list of sadness in the OutKick list of sadness here? Next to last final, these are teams that really have been a disaster and already are looking towards the draft. In the 28th spot, I've got the Eagles. Look, you know things are bad when you are so bad that you're the only NFC East team that has managed to be eliminated from winning the division already. That is a really bad spot for the Eagles to find themselves in. I think they are effectively done. In the 29 spot, I've got the Bengals. Now, the Bengals just went on the road and beat the Houston Texans, leading to J.J. Watt going off about the lack of commitment and why he cares and everything else. And it's got me a little bit nervous as a Titan fan that his team might find a way to beat my team. But if you break that down, I have got the Bengals in the 29th spot, the Eagles in the 28th. In the 30th spot, I don't think there's any doubt. I think we've fallen down to the point where the Houston Texans at 4-11, they fumbled twice against the Colts, which could have changed the scenario going in for the touchdowns. We'll see what kind of effort they put forward against the Titans. I expect a good one. It wouldn't even stun me if they pulled off an upset against the Titans. But right now, I've got the Texans at the 30th best team. I've got the Jets, who have now won 2 in a row. And by the way, if they don't play that zero defense against the Oakland Raiders, the Jets would be 3-1 in their last 4 and have a chance to finish 4-1. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but do you think if you're the Jets now about not drafting a quarterback and potentially trading back? And you expect Adam Gase to get fired, but is it possible that he could manage to avoid the chopping block? I don't know, but it's a crazy story to contemplate. Maybe they're going to stick with Sam Darnold. And then in the 32nd spot, of course, winning the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, I have got the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that is how I would break down the bottom 5 and the top 5 in the NFL.